Red Sox fans have long to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to get to the point now. The Cubs. It's over. The Cubs have 8-7-10.
Woo! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. I am your host, Brandon Combs. As you can see, I am here by myself. Right now, Chad Launder is tending to some fatherly duties. He will join us here shortly. So you just got me for a few minutes, guys, so bear with me here. We're going to get into some baseball talk. We got a great show lined up for you. We are going to get into our NFL our NFL power rankings. We are going to get into some NBA talk. We're definitely going to hit on the Captain Obvious, who is Paul George for sure. And then we will get into our way or no way segment and some shop talk for you. But first, we are going to start off with baseball. And look, the season's already at its halfway point. I'm watching the Cubs right now. They brought Tyler Chatwood off the injured list. It's no longer a disabled list. Got to be politically correct. So coming off the injured list, and he's just getting, absolutely pounded by the Detroit Tigers. So they're already in their bullpen, and they're in the bottom of the second inning. So that is not good news for the Chicago Cubs right now. But anyway, there's more baseball out there outside of the Cubs. We're gonna. You got Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols went out and became technically second on the all-time RBI list. And to me, this is one of them rules that where MLB needs to kind of loosen up and recognize, players before the whole started keeping the stats thing. Because technically, he took over sole possession of third and not second. But they don't recognize Babe Ruth's RBI stats because they didn't start keeping the stat until 1920. So technically, Babe Ruth is second there. And, baseball has all those funky rules. We were talking about it last week. We talked about the unwritten rules. We talked about, all the things that baseball needs to let go of. And this is one of them. I mean, come on. Everybody knows Babe Ruth had 2,100 and some odd RBIs. Why can't we just put him in the record books? Why do we have to sit there and have, say that Albert Pujols takes second, but technically he's third? It's just stupid. Baseball, it just absolutely needs to get over itself and start allowing guys in the record books who are actually in the record books. Speaking of record books, man. Oh, look who joined us.
Tell you what, man.
How we doing?
Yahoo Sports, your guys' system sucks. Let me start by saying that. So we're not going to get a sponsorship from Yahoo. You guys it is 2020. We haven't been doing anything for the last 6 months. It's been COVID. You should have been making your system fantastic. Your draft system sucks. The fact you can't get on 5G sucks. I still got Gronk, so I guess that's okay. But
we're doing
I got in and heard you chatting. I heard you get in here and giving some chat about the Pujols thing and Babe Ruth, and I agree with you. This isn't like where people talk about Reggie White's sack record because of players in the past where there's not accurate keeping. One thing about baseball, it has been meticulous since the late 1800s. That's why you can find stats on things from the 1880s in baseball. It is stupid that just because you don't recognize it, but you have historical records of what it is, they'll be again. This is just an old person thing. So I
was about to get into before I noticed that you were here a specific stat. And we talked about this earlier about the most hockey thing a baseball player has ever done. So in 1919, Ray Caldwell of the Cleveland Indians got struck by lightning while he was on the mound.
Yep.
Got revived while he was on the mound. And then finished the game. He got struck by lightning, got revived, revived, finished the game. And then, to make it even better, 17 days later, he goes out and pitches a no-hitter.
Yep. 17 days. And you tagged me on Sports Soup and said, this must be the guy that invented hockey. And I said, close, except it was hockey. He would have came back out and pitched a no-hitter on about 3 days rest. That's the only difference that we got going there. But yeah, that's insane. But that right there, the fact that there's this detailed statistics of this dude back when people were still shucking corn, and you knew exactly what happened, including a lightning strike and revival. Like, just give Babe Ruth the RBI. Like, for a sport that's loaded with so many people that it's all about the numbers and the history, you also are a bunch of dweebs for this. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid.
No, I agree. You know,
it is what it is.
You got all sorts of stuff. We're at the halfway point now, and you know the Mets returned after a short stint. They finally, they got all the COVID stuff taken care of. They have no positive COVID case, so they missed 3 games. Not horrible. And so they're back to action today. Do you feel like that's too quick? I mean, they're talking about if you have to test or you come in contact with somebody who's positive, you're supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks. And now they're putting these guys back on the field. I mean, I know, I'm one of those guys who's very skeptical about the numbers. I'm one of those guys who's very skeptical about the severity of COVID. I'm very skeptical about, things that we need to do. So I'm okay with it. But, from a standpoint where you are telling people that they need to quarantine for 2 weeks and you're letting these guys back out on the field 6 days later, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it comes down to this aspect of it bleeds into what you just said, which is what are the numbers that are actually being reported. So when we hear that people test positive, the unfortunate thing is in our current society, it's you're tested positive, so therefore you have it right now in this aspect, and you need this many days. But we looked at and I can't believe his name's slipping my mind, but the outfielder from the Nationals who started the season, and he was tested positive, but he wasn't gone for 14 days because they had the chance to say that it was systematic or all these things. I don't know. There's just different avenues. Right. I just wish instead of just the statement of tested positive, and of course it's not going to happen because you don't get the media craziness and people retweeting and everything. And, if we leave out a couple words and we get people all excited, they'll get on our website and then therefore we get the money that we need. That's all it is. So I'm going to trust that if the Mets came back quickly, it's because a couple people got tested positive being that they had it at one time, positive that they immediately did another test and it wasn't in the same strength, or that they haven't had the symptoms for over 2 weeks. I'm trying to give Major League Baseball all the credit, even though I think they better be prepared for some more challenges with weather and the playoff system with this stuff. But I literally thought that once we had the second team after the Marlins, especially the debacle with the Cardinals, they were just going to be like, Manfred was going to be like, sorry, we can't do it. But I'm trusting them in this situation. Yeah. And if they're going back out and playing, but what I'm going to be interested in is how did the other players, because you usually what you see is players on opposing teams being like, whoa. We saw it with the Marlins. People were like, "We're not. Well, I'm not going down there to Miami. They're not. I'm not going down there. I'm not going to go to Philly and play in there." We saw it with other players, so we'll see what happens with that.
Well, what's funny is that when this all started, when we first started the show, one of the first episodes that we did, we talked about, is baseball going to be able to have a full season? Mm-hmm. And I was on the opposite end of it. Like I thought there was no way. I thought that with all the traveling they were going to do, they weren't going to get through it. And then once the whole Cardinals thing hit and the Marlins and everything else, I was on the opposite side of that spectrum. Mm-hmm. Like I thought they were going to chug through it, and they have. Baseball has really chugged through this thing, and they're going to keep doing it. And I keep bringing this up, and I brought it up a couple times now. I just don't know what they're going to do for the teams that have lost games. Like, let's take the what if you get rain delays during doubleheaders out of it, and let's take away say there are no more canceled games for rest. Well, right. But let's just say that there are. Now, if you go by win percentage, you're going to let a team who is, whatever, 5 games better, but have only played 30-something games versus a team that is, 4 games better, but played all 60, that team's going to be like, well, wait.
Right.
That's not right. But then again, on the same spectrum, like take the Cardinals, and as much as I hate to defend the Cardinals, if they go in right now, they're 4 games out of the division in the Central. If they go in and they're 4 games out and they still got 7 games to make up, and baseball's like, no, we're going to stop you here. You know what I mean? Like, what do you say? I mean, if you're the Cardinals, you're saying, well, we should get to play our games, regardless of how I feel about it, which I would tell them, go screw yourself. Maybe you shouldn't have gone to the club. But in turn, a competitive advantage. You can't say, hey, we can't take win percentage into it. Then if that's the case, and you have to let them play the games, I just don't see how they make up 3 weeks worth of games. I just don't.
This is what I'm saying, that even with, and we're saying those are big ifs, no weather issues, no other aspects like that. We can't have these guys. I've even talked about in some other places where MLB has to go to a bubble type of system. They've seen it with the NHL and the NBA working. They were really studying the NHL actually, and the NFL coming back with all those false positives, and they actually cleared 100%, and they're keeping their teams in a very bubble aspect. Baseball is seeing like, hey, if you don't want all the hype of all the drama, you're going to have to do something. So I've said LA, you've got the Dodgers, you've got the Angels, and you've got the Padres right up the road to do a systematic thing like that. But even playing in LA with their weather and everything like that, you can't have these guys playing in January. They've got to figure something out. And if in MLB very quickly said, hey, for makeup games, we're going to do 7 innings. And then we're going to do the doubleheader 7 innings, and it won't be as bad. But we haven't seen it yet. But we've literally got 2 hurricanes barreling up the Gulf right now and are supposed to do a line dance or whatever heck weather stations are supposed to say. A double-headed hurricane coming right up the middle of our country. You don't think baseball's going to get canceled over that crap? Of course it is. So what are you going to do? MLB needs to step forward and say what the plan's going to be in that situation right there, because the Cardinals are going to get rained out. The Marlins are definitely going to get rained out. The Phillies are going to have games where they get rained out. And not only that, sometimes it could be games in which, like I talked about on our last podcast, what if it's not even in Miami, but Miami's on the road somewhere, and these things affect their games where they get rained out. Now it's not even because of COVID, and they've got to make up more games. MLB has to do something. I'm rambling, though, saying they have to do something because I have no damn idea. This was the problem with them dancing around way too much and waiting till last second and then negotiating and bitching about 10 games here, 5 games here, and then you crammed it into this small little 60-game season as if it was all going to work perfectly. Right. We're going to have baseball in January, and it's going to be weird. That's the only thing I can think that works.
I don't know. Your sister chimes in. She's a top fan here. Put some respect on my name.
Yeah.
How's it going, Ashley?
Ash Dorkett. Dorkett's her name.
Oh, booty. That is wrong.
What I call her.
Can't do that.
I called her a dork when we were kids. I called her a dork. She goes, "I'm not a dork. I'm a girl." And I said, "Well, you're a dorkette then." And that's it. And that's what she uses my phone.
You can't do that on a platform where like 7 people are watching us right now. You can't do that.
Hey man, we got 20 subscribers now on YouTube. One of them is me, so really 19. But hey, double digits, baby. Let's keep going.
Anyway, we won't talk about numbers because I got some other shows heated at one another. So we'll avoid that for now. But at any rate, so we're still at the halfway point, and it gets me to start thinking. Just because once you've only got 30 games left, who are the teams that are within 5 games of a division that are contenders, and who are the pretenders? And so I started looking at the standings. I started looking at the teams that I've watched, which is pretty much all of them. And I didn't really come up with that many pretenders, but I also didn't come up with that many contenders. Like Yeah, there are teams in this league that are just by far. Who you got?
I've got a few within 5 games. I got quite a few pretenders. I mean, the Blue Jays are 3.5 back in the AL East. They're a pretender. They've got some good strength. They've got some good young talent. You got Vlad Jr. coming up. That's got the heartbeat of that team. They're not passing the Yankees or Rays. They're pretenders. Could they get maybe that 7
pretenders too? Yep.
Okay. We've been talking about the Mets back and forth. They're 3 games back. It's a rough division up and down. We talk about how they beat each other up, but I still don't think they're legitimate. They're pretenders. The Phillies are 4 games back. They've been on a hot streak. I don't think they're contenders. Yeah. The Cardinals are now 10-8. They're going to win that division, so they're obviously contenders.
We can't hear a word you're saying anymore. I muted your mic.
Do it. I'm waiting for you. So
I didn't have. So,
what you got?
Yeah, pretenders. I had. So the Orioles are also not that far back. I believe they were 4 back or 4.5 back.
Back, yeah.
Right behind the Blue Jays. Both the Blue Jays and the Orioles are both pretenders. I think the Houston Astros are pretenders. I don't think they're going to come back in that division. They may sneak in with a wild card, but when it comes to a wild card game, look, I would like any of those. I would like Cleveland over them. I would like the White Sox over them. Those teams in a wild card scenario, I would like over them. As far as the National League goes, I have everybody in the National League East behind the Braves as a pretender. That division is just so bad behind the Braves, and the Braves haven't even been that impressive. So, and I said that last week. So I don't think anybody in that division other than the Braves is a contender.
I'm shocked the Brewers, by the way, are 5.5 back.
I have the Brewers are pretenders. The Cardinals are pretenders. I have the anybody in the West behind the Dodgers and the Padres are already out of it. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, look, you're just
you want to talk about a garbage division when the Giants got excited about 4 in a row and they're still 8 back. I mean, that's bad.
Yeah,
there he is. He's going to keep it up. We just got done with this draft, so here we go. All I got to do is beat your dad for 25. If I win it all, you get 50.
Yeah.
I don't even get any money. We donated to charity. That was our pay-in, which was a really cool idea, I think. That was really, really awesome.
Look, every league I play in is a donation, so I was okay with it anyway. I was going to lose my money anyway. I'm just going to beat the hell out of you. Did you see my quarterbacks in that draft?
No, because I was on 5G with Yahoo Sports. I didn't see damn crap.
I have 3 quarterbacks because I was setting up for the show, and so it auto-drafted Tom Brady and who the hell's my other backup? So I have Drew Brees as a starter, who I picked, and then it auto drafted me 2 quarterbacks after that. It auto drafted me Tom Brady and Carson Wentz. So I was like, man, all right, well,
trade bait, baby. You got some trade bait. But I got my MVP. I got my MVP, Russell Wilson, and then Cam Newton as my backup.
Yeah, so I have Derrick Henry, and then after Derrick Henry, I was able to go get crap. Now I can't think of the damn running back I drafted. But anyway, I got
really vested in this.
Yeah, I got 2 stud running backs with my first 2 picks, so I was pretty happy with that. But anyway, back to baseball. The pretenders we got, the contenders now. Contenders again, like I had 5 real contenders. Like when I'm thinking of contenders, I'm thinking of the guys who really can put on a chance to win the World Series. And in the American League, I have the Yankees and the Rays and the Twins and the A's. That's it. Yankees, Rays, Twins, and A's in the.
Oh, you're going contenders, including the people. I figured anyone leading the division halfway point was already a contender.
No,
I thought
we were just looking for contenders. I was going with. I mean, you might have done it differently than I did. I did it for the guys who I think could win the World Series. And so in the National League,
oh no, I was thinking contending to get through the playoffs.
In the National League, I really only have the Dodgers and the Cubs, but the Cubs for me are borderline. Like at the way that they're playing right now and how hot and cold the offense has been, the pitching has been really good. The back end of the bullpen needs some help. They need to go do something at the trade deadline. But the Cubs for me are still a borderline team. They're not the Dodgers. The way the Dodgers are playing right now, there's nobody in the National League that's going to beat them. Nobody.
Braves are. If we were doing World Series, it's just Braves and Twins. That's all you had to tell me. I thought it was getting into the playoffs. If it was just for World Series, I told you there's two. It's the Twins and it's the Braves.
If they were going into it right now, if they were making it going into the playoffs right now, you would have the Braves over the Dodgers?
Yeah, I trust in my pick. I trust in my pick, unlike you. Well, you flip-flopping Chicago fan going from the Sox to the Cubbies.
No, it's not about flip-flopping. It's about being honest and about being what's going on the field. I'm watching what's going on the field.
What are you, my mother? It's about being honest here. It's about I'm standing behind my picks. Damn it!
You go ahead and stand behind your picks. I'll go ahead and stand behind logic.
You stand behind the Dodgers, who you just said on our last show they'll find a way to mess it up in the playoffs. You literally said that, though.
Look, I hope they do. That. I hope they do, but at this point right now, if the playoffs started today, I wouldn't pick anybody against them. I just wouldn't. They are playing really good baseball right now.
Mookie's due for a bad couple days, so don't worry.
Yeah, a bad couple days. All right. A bad couple days for him is 2 for 4. Anyway, so that's the other thing, too. We're 1 week now from the trade deadline. I mean, we're only 30 games in, but we're already a week from the trade deadline. I have a sneaking suspicion that there are some teams out there like your Red Sox that are going to be looking to go ahead and deal. The Giants are another one, probably going to be looking to go ahead and deal. I'm just not sure there's going to be a whole lot of buyers. I get that there are some good names out there, but a lot of people seem to forget that we are in 2020 and we are in a shortened season because of COVID, and the owners aren't really making money. So to go add to their team and add to their payroll, I'm just not sure there's going to be a whole lot of that. I think there's going to be a whole lot of disappointed teams. There's going to be a whole lot of disappointed fans. There's going to be disappointed teams that we're trying to sell so that they can improve and aren't going to be able to because of COVID. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams and a lot of fans of those teams who really want to add but just can't afford to. So I think it's going to be a really quiet trade deadline. I really do.
I think it's going to be quiet compared to about a week ago, because a week ago when we were talking about teams 5 out, I mean, if you looked at the standings a week ago, we didn't have such a split. We really didn't. Right. This past week has shown a lot of who the true contenders versus pretenders. That's what I was thinking of it, like pushing forward the last half of the season here. But I still think people are going to buy, though, because it's still going to be a season. Yeah. It's still going to kind of World Series, and they get money's involved. Baseball's a little bit different. That's why that even though they're doing good, unfortunately, I don't think a team like the Rays and Athletics are going to, because if those teams aren't making money, they already usually are behind the 8 ball in the finances. But the Yankees, I could see it. I see the Twins going for a shot, maybe to get one player out of it. The Indians, I could see doing it. Damn well, the Astros, I could see them doing it just because they want to try to prove, that they're okay. The Braves, as you said, been having kind of a wishy-washy year, but if there's a way they can just put that division away, I think your Cubs will go and would go and do it. We talked about Theo needing to be able to get prepared. What better way to do it than right now?
If they do, they're going to get a small end back end of the bullpen type guy. They're not going to make a splash, though. They're not going to go out, and go to Boston and go get like an Eovaldi or something. Somebody you can throw in the back end of your bullpen and be successful with.
But I think the Padres have already spent money, but they've also gotten some good young talent that's not costing them as much. Right. Why not go out? They've got a chance. We talk about how amazing the Dodgers are, and they are. And yet it sounds like a lot, but it's not compared to the Dodgers. They're only 4 games back. Like, go secure that either first wild card spot or take a run at the Dodgers. Hell yeah, there's so much excitement around that team. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's not going to be as much in the aspects of COVID are going to challenge it, but I don't think we're going to have this. I don't think the Phillies-Boston deal is going to be the only one we see. I think we're going to see a lot more. Yeah. But to your credit, I think we're going to see a lot more specialized role players move. You might see 1 or 2 splashes.
What I can see the Cubs going and doing is going back to LA and getting back a guy that they let go a couple years back, who was a kind of a fan favorite, and Tommy La Stella.
Yeah,
I think the Angel, Tommy La Stella coming back to the Cubs and just adding depth to that bench, and maybe even picking up a reliever while they're there. I could see them sending a guy like an Almora or a David Bodie in return, and I'll tell you right now,
they give up Bodie,
or even Ian Happ. And if anybody loves Ian Happ, and Ian Happ, Ian Happ has played above, what I thought he was going to be this year offensively.
That's why Theo won't let him go.
He's still he is a shit defender. And I hate when people say that I am better than this guy or that guy. But I'm telling you right now, man, I could read a fly ball better than Ian Happ can. That guy is fucking horrendous in the outfield. He is absolutely horrendous.
There's no fans in the crowd. The shade that comes off the human bodies, it dances different.
Get the hell out of here. That guy is horrendous. He misplayed a ball the other night that cost them a game. The ball, so he's running back on the ball. He stops. He thinks he's under it, and the ball lands 10 feet behind him. I've never seen him. He is so bad in the outfield. Does
he have a contract through just this year, or?
I think he's still got 2 or 3 years left on his deal. But Joe Madden absolutely loved that guy. He played him above Almora, and Almora is a superior. Almora can't see. Almora is the opposite. Almora can't hit his way out of a wet paper bag, but he is a stud defensively. I would much rather see. So I'm okay. I've been saying this all year. I don't know why they don't just make Ian Happ their DH and have Almora as their everyday center fielder. Just because, look, you can have one guy in your lineup who's going to hit 160. That's fine. But the spark he brings defensively, they've absolutely got to go and do something there. So I could really see them going out and getting La Stella. I really could. I think he would add a spark back to that lineup. The guys loved him in the clubhouse. He's a big friend of Rizzo. So I think that would be a good spark, and I think it'd be a good move for the Cubs. But that's what you're going to see, though. You're going to see the Tommy La Stellas of the world are going to be the ones getting moved. You're not going to see the big name. I'd be extremely shocked if you see a big name move. You might even see maybe a guy like a Jeff Samardzija get moved, just to shore up the back end of a rotation somewhere. You got Washington, who just lost Strasburg. And if they think that they have a chance in the East, they need to go get pitching. I could see a guy like a Jeff Samardzija moving, or a Johnny Cueto. But, I mean, to me, that's not big names.
No, Cueto's not going anywhere. Cueto's not going anywhere. San Francisco thinks that they're only a player or two away. They're going to hold. They're going to float where they are.
If they think they're only a player or two away, they need to reevaluate how they watch baseball.
Not against the Dodgers, just in the aspect of baseball. They do, and there's a lot of people that think that the Giants are only a few players away, like one or two players. And I'm one of them that doesn't think that that's something terrible to say. Watch that team; they've got a lot of excitement on it. Yastrzemski is just doing some major things. He's uplifting that team. They're just above a 500 type team right now, but one or two players, you keep a guy like Suedo, because if you trade him instead of floating just a little above 500 and finding one or two players that could really make a difference towards a wild card next year, you trade him. You are saying we're going back down here. Right. And I think the Giants have enough respect in their organization, and they've been, look at their history in the last 10, 12 years. They won 3 World Series going from the team that's floating down there, got a couple pieces, World Series, float back down. And so we've seen it. So I think you want to know a player that's going to move.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that, Giants. I think the Giants need to build around Yastrzemski and rebuild that, because they're not a good ball club. They need a whole new. Their pitching staff is atrocious. Their bullpen's atrocious. Their lineup is subpar, and they keep waiting for
the Cubs bullpen.
Dude,
and the Cubs.
Everybody, the Cubs do not have a good bullpen. The Cubs haven't had a good bullpen for 3 years.
Right, but the Cubs are leading the NL Central.
Well, the Cubs
are a good team. That's what I'm saying. So you've got a bad bullpen and they can't compete. Your Cubs are competing. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. What I'm saying is they're a player or two away from competing in the wild card aspect. There's many, many people in Major League Baseball that believe that that's so. And they're only a couple games out. It's not out of this world. So you're saying you are a couple games away from wild card and you demolish it and build around Yastrzemski and take a 2 to 3 year new process? I
think they're way more.
Do you get more strategic on that? But you want to know a guy that I think you need to watch out for is Nick Solik down in Texas. This kid is getting almost no attention because he's playing on the Rangers. And my God, well, the things he's doing in the outfield defensively, he's hitting about 270 right now. Solid, smart kid running. He was drafted by the Yankees, so God knows if they think, hey, we got to solidify what we got, especially if we don't know what's going on with Judge. I think you might see Nick Solik, who, again, is not a big name, but I think he's got an extremely bright future. So that's my name to watch for. Out of Texas, right there.
He's a good ball player. I've seen him play a couple times. He's pretty good. I like that kid out of LA too, but they're not going to let him go because they've got something good there. They haven't put it together, but they got that with Brian Goodwin. That guy can play some left field, man. He is a stud. He's going to be a good ball player as he gets more years and more time in the game. You're gonna know his name for sure. So. All right, guys, so we're going to take a quick break. Let's take a look at the comments here. Let's see. TJ
Any more of my siblings that need their
win, I'll lose my mind. Steven said, who gave Ashley Rodriguez line her top fan? Never seen her post.
There's another sibling.
Back what Steven Facebook did. And then says, of course Facebook did.
Here comes my siblings. They're just our comments are gonna just be filled with my household bickering growing up. Horrendous. Is this like Christmas you think is horrendous? Like what's with the ho? Like what do we Are you already saying screw 2020? You just passed Christmas, let's go straight to New Year's. I'm down for that. New Year's the rest of the year. Let's do it. It's okay. I'm here now, guys.
Oh man. And then RTF Sports Network chimes in with half the teams making the playoffs. There isn't any urgency to buy or sell like a usual year. And, that's the other thing, too. Yeah. That and there's a lot of
14
teams.
14 out of 32 teams.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams that, look, they're, the front runner having a bad week away from being back in their division. So it's going to be interesting to see.
We said that last week.
Yeah.
These races are a lot different. Now, I think we actually saw a separation last week that – you may see one or two teams cross that line back and forth, but I actually think we're seeing what we're going to see throughout. But what you just said, who knows? We could see the reverse the next week. The Dodgers go on a 5-game losing streak, just shockingly. I know no one is going to expect that, but it's possible. If they do and the Padres go up, you're going to see chaos going on out there. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we will get into some NBA talk. Be right back. Stay with us, guys.
Woo-woo.
What's going on, Triple Shot Sports family? This is Brandon Combs, host of the best podcast on the planet. That's the Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Be sure to join myself and Soup Boss Chad Lounder live for 2 hours. Yes, I said 2 hours every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Central on the RTF Sports Network Facebook page and YouTube. And if you miss any part of the show, you can hear us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your drive home at 5 p.m. Eastern on rtfsportsnetwork.com. All right, guys, so we are back. It is time to get into some NBA talk. I know Soup Boss loves his NBA.
I'm no different than you with it being my fourth sport. I just actually watch it and pay attention and know what's going on because you still don't know who Donovan Mitchell is.
I know who he is. I watched him the other day.
I should have been in the clear in the great debate and to have you as judge.
Oh, my God. You're still worried about the great debate?
I don't even know who that guy is, so you get no points.
Bro. All right. Anyways, right down here, take a look. Subscribe to our show on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Sports Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you click that subscribe button. once we get to 100 likes, we will be giving away some prizes. Absolutely. So definitely subscribe.
That was 100.
Let's get to 100. That was
100.
100.
And if you subscribe, this is a big thing. On YouTube, they only let you see the last 100 subscribers. So that's part of the reason. Another reason is we get to 100 and unlock some aspects for us as a show to be able to be on the front line for you guys as fans a lot more, which will be great. But it only lets you see the last 100. But you have to, and I don't understand this aspect, you have to make it where when you subscribe, it's not set to private. So if you have your subscription set to private, I can't see you. So maybe we'll do something when we get close. If I don't see you on a Sports Soup or on Facebook on our page or something, you can screenshot that you are. But it's really important that if you don't care what that setting is, just verify that your subscriptions aren't set to private so we can actually see that you subscribed.
Yeah, absolutely. And once we do get to 100 subscribers, those 100 names will go into a randomizer. That randomizer will pull out all the names, but the top 5 names will win prizes. And so the prizes themselves, I did not have time to bring them on for visual effects.
Just do a tease.
I did
just do a tease for Thursday.
We're going to give them out. So I will let you know what the biggest prize is going to be. And the biggest prize is going to be a Fernando Tatis autographed jersey. That's Fernando Tatis Jr. autographed jersey.
I subscribed. Just so you know.
And look, everybody's in it. So look, anybody who subscribes, first 100 subscribers are going to be in it. We're going to take our names out of it. It would be funny if I won and got to keep the jersey, but we're going to take our names out of it. And,
guys, that is right now. If you were to try to buy that today off of like eBay or something like that, this is the hottest young kid in baseball. This is what everyone is pumped about what this kid is doing. You're looking at hundreds of dollars for this thing. And again, I have to applaud Mr. Combs because I don't have that much sports memorabilia. When I moved to Oklahoma City, I had to get rid of most of it. So just barely looking at it. This is all literally out of the hands of Mr. Combs. He literally wants to be able to build this. This is where his heart and his career is. So trust me when I say me, myself, as his co-host, I'm extremely humbled. But to bring up the LeBron, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. He's given away 5 of them, and one of them alone is probably worth a giveaway for us getting to 500 or 1,000 subscribers at Tatis Jr. 100 subscribers. You have a 5% chance at scoring that. That's huge.
The items that I'm going to be giving away are, we're going to reach probably I'm going to be paying basically about, $10 a subscribe because it's going to be about $1,000 worth of gear that I'm giving away. The other one of the other items that I'll be giving away, which I just acquired today, is a Michael Vick autographed Falcons jersey. So that's another one. And that's another one. Look, when he was with the Falcons, man, he was the human joystick, and this was before all the stuff where he went to prison and all that stuff. So this is all it's stuff just for me to say thank you. I appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the love. And we're just looking for subscribers. All you have to do is click on YouTube, click subscribe. Doesn't cost you nothing. All it costs you is about 30 seconds of your time. We put it on the Facebook page all the time, so you can just click on it, click subscribe, and then you don't even have to watch the replays if you don't want to. We would love for you to do that. But, just click on subscribe, get your name in there, and get yourself some free stuff. So moving on, speaking of LeBron, the Lakers put an absolute stranglehold on their series. I mean, they absolutely dominated the Trailblazers last night and looked like what the Lakers were supposed to look like the entire time anyway. But, man, at one point, I think I turned it off. I think it was 91-53. I turned it off. I was like,
did you see that thing I shared on Sports Soup? It was in the middle of the game and someone put it was a picture of LeBron, but then it was like NBA 2K where it was like your opponent has left the match. Like it was that bad.
It was absolutely just an ass whooping. Now, do you think that the Lakers, and I'm going to put this out, lose another game till they get to the finals?
Till they get to the finals? Yeah.
So?
Yeah, because what I was talking about with LeBron and AD, one of them has to be doing better when they are both on. It's amazing, but you got to look at the fact that the rest of the teams in the West, with Dame being my favorite player, I love him, but there's other great players on there, of course, but to the extent of what some of these other teams in the West are, these other teams in the West are going to do a lot better in terms of getting one of them off their game, getting in the head of one of the players for a game here and there. So, no, I don't think they're sweeping the rest of it. If they play like they did that last game, sure, without a doubt. But I think that's just one of those superb, over-the-top games. But it was so huge because how many people sat there and go, we have an upset? You got guys like Charles Barkley that's like, if they lose game one, they're getting swept. He didn't even say they're going to lose. He said the Lakers were getting swept. Everyone's like, this will be it. I sat here with Way or No Way with you, and then you said they could still get beaten by the Blazers. Our Twitter polls, people were doing it, everything.
Yeah.
It was a way for the Lakers to just say, yo, we had a hiccup. This is who we are, though. Like, don't get it. You know, like I keep saying, I'm not a huge LeBron James fan in the aspect of hating him in a rival sense like I am with Derek Jeter, but just like Derek Jeter, I respect the hell out of him. He is an athletic beast. He is weird when it comes to getting in the playoffs and the things that happen, but he tends to make players around him better. And to get a guy like Anthony Davis, who is a guy that could dominate on his own, we saw in a game what happens when they both dominate, and that is scary for the rest of the league. So I don't think that will happen, no. I think they'll have a lost game here or there, but if you ask me right now, even with all the excitement we're getting in the Western Division and playoffs, the Lakers are still the team to beat. They're still the team that's going to the finals, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that they're still going to the finals. I don't think that anybody's going to beat them in a 7-game series. I do think that they'll lose a game. I mean, you got teams out in the West that are really good. The Clippers are good.
Yeah.
The Mavericks are good. The Mavericks could definitely steal a game or two. The Rockets are definitely a capable team of stealing a game or two. But that's all people can do against these Lakers, man. They're just going to steal a game or two.
Yeah.
And even once you get to the East, I think you do have some teams that could give them some trouble, but they need to be healthy. Your Celtics, if they're healthy, man, they can give this Laker team some fits. The Toronto, I mean,
Toronto is just proven the fact that you can do what they're doing without Kawhi Leonard is just mind-boggling. Even though I said people are going to completely pass them over and not realize they had a good core, and they were still going to be. I was expecting them to be like 6-7 seeds still and still be decent. Not this. This is as if Kawhi's still on that team. That's insane. They are really good.
Right. Yeah. No. And then you got, speaking of the Mavericks, you got Porzingis being out again and Dame Lillard out again. So the not only do the Blazers not have a chance, but now they are without Dame Lillard for Game 5. The Mavericks are without Porzingis for Game 5. Can the Mavericks? I know the Blazers are done, especially without Dame Lillard. So that's a given. But can the Mavericks without Porzingis, can they, can Luka do what he's been doing and sustain what he's sustained and come out and upset the Clippers?
Listen, we're seeing the future before us, and that's why even though I give you crap on the great debate as a joke, when people are like, "What's great debate?" It was from the Big E network where they have the 4 people going against each other. Mr. Combs here was the judge, and it said who will be the next GOAT or leader in this league in 15 years. And there were some answers that were just too obvious. And I went after Donovan Mitchell because aspect of guy with a chip on his shoulder, drafted outside where he should, has to grow, make his team better. He gets better a la Tom Brady. But let's be serious. I knew everyone else was going to talk about Luka. We are watching a superstar in the making. This is a point guard born in the body of a man much bigger than a point guard who at the same time will put a team on his shoulders. He will play down in the line. Like, this is a guy, we look at a guy like LeBron James when he was that age, He wasn't physically as big as he was, so we don't even know the aspect of what Luka can do. He's a superstar. With that said, everyone knows how amazing that shot was. Mind-boggling. What a game. Triple-double.
Yeah.
But remember, he misses that shot. It was an amazing performance, but they still lose the game. Paul George playing like ass, they still lose that game. Like, it took a fantastic step back, deep 30-plus foot jumper to win that game.
Yeah.
Can he do it again? He can. If you tell me to put money on it, do I think he does again? No, I think we talked about it. The two coaches in these series are really, really smart, and I just don't really see Doc letting him do that again. With him knowing that Porzingis is out, he's going to change the game plan. He's going to find ways to get George more involved. He's going to find ways to double trap Luka. And I guarantee you right now, if it comes down to Luka at the end of the game like that again, it's not going to be him. Doc will make sure he's double teamed, and he'll make someone else on that team beat them. And that's so I'd put money on he can't do that again. And I think it was a worse situation that we found out much earlier that Porzingis is out. I think the Clippers are going to win it.
I think that no matter what Luka does, if Luka goes out there again and does it again, I think that if Porzingis is out for Game 6, people will be like, yeah, well, he's not going to do it 3 games in a row. And if he does it again in Game 6, people are like, yeah, he's not going to – look, the Clippers are going to come out and they're going to – look, the Clippers – the Clippers have their back against the wall and are going to be pressing more than the Mavericks are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think Luka can repeat performance? Absolutely he can. Do I think that vaults them into a win? I'm not sure. The Clippers aren't world beaters. The Clippers aren't a dominant team. This isn't the Lakers.
Right.
So I have a feeling that if Luka plays the way that he played the other night and he lifts that team and just puts them on his shoulders, he absolutely could lead this team over the Clippers without Porzingis. Absolutely.
But what we just talked about, though, too, everyone's making memes and jokes about it, but you're forgetting about the silent assassin that's on the other side. And I think there was an aspect in which Kawhi Leonard continued to trust in Doc in that, and he will if they find new ways to get Paul George. But if you go through, I guarantee you, if it gets to halfway through the second quarter and we see the same Paul George we did in Game 4, there's no way. Kawhi is just going to say, F this. This is my game. I'll just do it all. And Luka right now can do it. We know Kawhi will do it, and that's a difference to me. Well, I really think it's going to come down to what this game is looking like coming close to halfway. If it's getting close to halftime and George isn't in it, he's just going to say, "I'm done. I'm doing this. Give me the damn ball," and he will.
So. Speaking of George,
oh no!
So he comes out and says,
"Oh yeah."
If I score more, this is a different series.
And we would have won that game.
Well, no shit. Thank you, Captain Obvious. If we score more than the other team, we'll win. Well, yeah. No kidding. You dumbass. That one got me thinking, though. That one is like, man, there's been a lot of them. I mean, John Madden made a whole career out of stupid sayings.
Oh man, you just took my whole top 5, which is pretty much John Madden.
You could have made an argument to have all of them be John Madden, but there are some other really, really good ones, and we're gonna get to that as soon as we come back from a break here. So just hold on. And we are going to get into our best Captain Obvious sports statements of all time. We'll be right back.
Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still How can I not? All up in my face, every time that I talk, every time that I stop. I take a breath for a second, then you stepping on my chest, take a shot. While it's down, but you never keep him down. I'm a king with my crown, and a king with a king of me. Won the victory when he rose from the ground. Jesus, yes, I was that proud. Care about the in crowd, I care about you. That's something you don't know about.
All right, guys, we are back. So we teased before we went on break about, Paul George and his Captain Obvious statement is if I score more, we win that game, and it's a different series. But man, there have been some really good ones. So I was looking it up today, and I know some guys who are just like, I've listened to a lot of broadcast. I've always been into different broadcasters. I've always listened to a lot of different guys. Vince Scully is my idol. Harry Carey used to say a lot of dumb shit, but I loved listening to that guy.
Harry Carey.
Ron Santo calling Cubs games on the radio and stuff like that. So, I like listening to broadcasters. Tim McCarver is almost as bad, if not worse, than John Madden was.
Yep. I think you're gonna take one from me.
Stupid shit that he has said. But there have been some pretty good ones. So it got me thinking, and I hit Chad up and I said, hey, well, let's come up with our top five. Let's come up with our top five things, Captain Obvious sports statements of sports all time. So I got number 5 here. My number 5 actually comes from somebody in your New England Patriots organization, and that is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was once asked a question about what it's like. No. What it's like to coach coach Tom Brady and coach some of his Hall of Fame players. And to Bill Belichick's response, you can't play football without football players.
Well, which is funny because if you talk about Bill Belichick, he actually plays football with like your bagger from your local grocery store.
And so I read that statement and I was like, what? No kidding. You can't play football without football players, huh, Bill? Good. That's some sound advice, Bill. I appreciated every moment of that. So Bill Belichick gave me my number 5 quote of all time, and that is, you cannot play football without football players. Who's your number 5, Soup?
My number 5, and I got why he was trying to say it, but Knicks coach Derek Fisher, at the time when he was the coach, got caught by TNT. He was mic'd up. And what's funny is you can't actually find this. You got to I knew something about it and I had to look it up because the footage is somehow gone, which makes me wonder if he's found a way to sue people because of how embarrassing it was. But in the middle of a game, again, I get why he was doing it, so it's why it's my number 5. But he said, just relax. It's basketball. All the rules of the game are the same. The basket's the same height. They put their shorts on the same way you put yours on. That's fantastic. Thank you for the obvious, Derek Fisher. His team was just absolutely obviously pumped and ecstatic and went out to just get demoralized even more in that basketball game. So
I saw that one, and I was looking at all sorts of them today, and I saw that one, and that one it almost made the list. I was laughing a lot, but there are some other ones. So my number 4 is Tim McCarver, and Tim McCarver. They're talking about guys who hit home runs, and then they started talking about a guy who was pitching, who was a ground ball pitcher, and that was Tim Lincecum. Early in his career, he was just a ground ball pitcher, threw a lot of ground balls. And Tim McCarver says, well, the one thing about ground balls is they don't leave the yard.
Yep.
You don't say.
Yeah.
So ground ball will not go for a home run, huh?
Yeah.
I guess you're right. There's no arguments there. But geez, some crow. You couldn't come up with a better freaking commentary for a ground ball pitcher other than, a ground ball doesn't leave the yard. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Tim McCarver. Well, I'll let you know that was my number 3. So we'll go 5-3, and I'll jump back to 4 because I remember hearing something about that, and I knew that he made some just insanely stupid calls in that aspect. And I didn't think they got as that obvious, to sit there and go, one thing about ground balls, they don't go out of the ballpark. Like, all right. Yeah, that's amazing. My number 4, though, was a guy who just in recent history was by and far the biggest joke in football commentating. And he made our Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth actually be well, no, I wouldn't say enjoyable. I still want to watch them and put them on mute and still put the radio broadcast on. But I couldn't even stand looking at this man because I just knew even on mute, he was saying stuff, sitting down near the field because he thought it made him a better commentator. And he just made some of the most ridiculous calls. I hate his first name. I don't like the word, so I'm just going to say B. McFarland. You know who it was. But in a game with San Francisco versus Seattle, he said, if Seattle would have won, San Francisco would have lost. Talking about a football game, he said, if Seattle would have won, San Francisco would have lost.
Oh, my God. Well,
no
shit. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, if it's a true statement and it's just not a statement that needs to be said. I mean, because oh, my God.
It's like that one should be so dumb it's number 1, but I almost just was like, it's too easy because that was almost his whole broadcasting career on Monday Night Football. It was just that bad. It was terrible.
My number 3 also comes from Tim McCarver.
Oh,
and this is how bad this guy was. So he's doing a game on Fox, and the San Francisco Giants are playing. And he is talking about how to pitch to Pablo Sandoval. And his scouting report on Pablo Sandoval is the best way to pitch to him is to throw strikes that don't look like strikes. I mean, if that's not some legendary commentary, I don't know what is.
He's just like
you always want to throw strikes that don't look like strikes. That's how you confuse a hitter, Tim. You useless freaking human being as a commentator. He is the worst.
It's so hard because at least he was so likable in that aspect. It's kind of like I don't have any his on here because they weren't obvious. They were just weird. But Yogi Berra for the Yankees, just such a likable guy. So whenever he said dumb things, people were just like, well, yeah, Yogi, and they just just kind of smiled, like
90% of baseball is half mental.
Yeah, that stuff like that. Like Tim McCarver is that same type of thing. Like he just made some really, really dumb, obvious statements. But the
thing with Tim McCarver is he just seems like he's always trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and he tries to be that, so he sounds stupid.
Yeah, well, it's like co-hosting a show with you, so
that's fucked up.
All right, just walked right into it. I'm gonna go to my number 2 because I had Tim McCarver 3. I'm gonna go to number 2. So I'm going back to basketball because I remember watching this one. Doug Collins. I'm guessing you know exactly which one this was. Anytime Detroit scores more than 100 points and holds the other team below 100 points, and here's the funny part, how he ends this. They almost always win. So not only was it a beyond obvious statement, it was also a stupid statement because it's not almost. Whenever you score more with 100 than the other team, you always win.
I think he meant to say or instead of and, but the way that he came out was if you score, anytime they score 100 points and hold the team to under 100 points, they almost always win. I think he meant to say if they score 100 or hold the other team under 100, which would have made sense at that point. But the way he said it, man, yeah, that one almost made my list too. I actually scratched that one out because as I kept going and looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, that one's way dumber. Oh yeah, that one's dumber too. so I kept going.
I had to add it in just because of the almost part, because not only was it obvious, it was also obviously stupid at the same time.
Yeah. Oh man, it was freaking pure stupid gold. That's for sure. So number 2 for me was Trent Dilfer.
Oh man, I this is when I had to start the list and I threw it out.
Trent Dilfer is on NFL Live on ESPN, and he goes, well, you can't lose games in the NFL and still win. What? You can't lose games in the NFL and still win.
It's just like Louis Riddick's comment. It was almost the same thing.
Yeah, I don't understand. I was dying laughing. How do you if you can't lose games in the NFL, and so you can't lose games in any sport, Trent, and still win? It's not possible.
Have you seen the footage when they went to break on that? If you look that up, they went to break, and Trent's going through his stuff afterwards. And is it Jackson or who's sitting next to him?
Jackson.
And he's just looking at him. He's just staring at him. And finally, he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Really? Really? In order to win games, kid?" Like he said something in response, like, "Really?" That just came out of your mouth, and he was like, goes back to his page. Like you could just tell he was like, "Oh shit, I messed up big time."
All right, so what do we say here? Stephen Jean says, wow, Chad, I didn't realize how shiny your head was.
Nice and shiny. Got that shave, baby.
Oh, man.
Got that shave.
Junior chimed in and said, Chad, Lightning scored. It's 2-2.
Ooh, I didn't see that. I was waiting for the update. Okay, well, that's still a tie game. I'm all right with that.
Score more than 100, let them score less than 100.
Less than 100. Oh. That's what we should do, by the way, guys. With let's do. We're going through the comments. We got Shop Talk coming up. We got some we left off our list. Tell a lot. Yeah. Like, put in the comments some ones, because I want to see if there's even ones, because I found like 20, 25. Oh my God. I'd love to hear some more, because these are just awesome.
You could have made a whole list out of John Madden. Like, I mean, he had a ton. So who's your number 1?
No, well, in my number 1, I don't even have a specific one. It's that. John Madden. John Madden is the absolute legend of the most, and I say it all the time when I do jokes. See what he's a quarterback, and his goal is he want to take this ball, he's going to throw it all here. This is his receiver, and what he wants to do is he wants to come up the middle. His job is to catch the ball. So what he's going to do is he's going to drop back, he's going to throw it, boom, hit the wide receiver. He wants to catch the ball, boom, he's gone. Brett Favre. Like that was John Madden's career. Like that was it. And then what's his face that was always with him? He was like, "That's great commentary by you, Madden." Like he knew that was shit commentary, but we love the guy and he made great football games. So who cares?
There's one that didn't make my list that he says that had me cracking up. I was laughing. He goes, "Well, see, if the quarterback throws a wide receiver to the wide receiver in the end zone and he catches it, it's a touchdown."
It's a touchdown. Yeah, that's his whole career. But he told his whole job was to tell you stories about when he hung out with the players of things that made him laugh, and half the time it wouldn't make you laugh, but you would just because how much joy he had out of it, and then just plays like that. He also, by the way, 3 different times in his career drew a penis on the field because he would circle the wide receiver. He'd circle the wide receiver. He'd go, "See what you want to do. They're going to just run these 2 routes. They're going to go straight out." And boom, and he'd draw a big circle at the end. He'd be like, "If the quarterback wants to throw it out here." Not only was it stupid commentary, John, you drew a dick on the screen. And there was one game he started doing it. You could tell someone tried taking over, and he was like, "Hold on, I can't get." Like, and then he just drew the circle, and there was enough left that you can tell he was going to do it. And someone was like, "John's drawing a penis again on the screen. Erase it." Like, it was terrible. Terrible.
Well, My number one actually comes from John Madden. Now, out of all of his, this one to me takes the cake, and this was his all time. So he's in a game and he's talking about it was the Niners and Cowboys, and they're talking pregame, and they said, start talking about the keys to the game and stuff like that. And he starts off his key to the game for the Dallas Cowboys with the Dallas Cowboys have two types of plays in their playbook. They have passing plays and they have running plays.
As opposed to those swimming plays that teams mix in every once in a while.
No shit, John, huh? They have running plays and they have passing plays. What kind of plays do you want them to run, John? What kind of plays are they supposed to freaking run?
Oh, we loved him. And that's the thing. Like, when you have guys like Tim McCarver and you have guys like John Madden that just throw – like, we're sitting here laughing about it. But then when you have guys like McFarland, who I talked about, who just weren't likable, though, and they just like it just got the point. I think that's the only thing that keeps Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth in is that they don't make those stupid, obvious comments. They're just annoying. So it's just like they get by in that aspect. But if they start making really dumb, obvious comments like McFarland did, I bet you they would have been out of their careers a long time ago. But no, McCarver and Madden are just examples of two guys that, come on, you have to know that Madden got back on his bus and was just like, I have no idea what half the shit I just said. Brett Favre. Like, that's it.
That's what Booger McFarland was doing. I think Booger McFarland was in his ear. He had freaking John Madden talking to him in his ear. Hey, you should say this.
Oh, he made. That was my biggest one with him. But, he made a ton. Like, if you remember his January 1.
Yeah.
When January 1 comes, you start the year all over again. That's not even a sports comment. That's a comment about the calendar. You're an idiot.
All right. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna get into some NFL talk here. And we were gonna have Matt Benz of Twist on with us to talk about his power rankings that came out on the RTF Sports Network today. But he was unable to join us, so we are going to go over his top 10 power rankings. We have our top 10 power rankings, and we are going to compare.
This is how much the rest of the RTF network, by the way, fears us. They won't even come on here and face us with their power rankings. So.
That's not true. Matt Benz has a ton of stuff going on. Matt Benz, he's getting ready for a wedding. Plus, he came out with this ridiculous power rankings, and he knew we were going to kill him. So I even told him when he said he can't come on. I said, that's fine. I said, we're still going to talk about your power rankings. We're probably going to roast you because that's what we do, and then we'll see you next Tuesday. He's like, all right, sounds good. So Benz comes out with his power rankings. So before we get to his, let's go through ours, and we'll just go 10 through 1. So why don't you go ahead and give your top 10, and then I'll go ahead and give my top 10, and then we'll see what Benz's top 10 is, and then we'll talk about that.
So I think number 10, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I had them pick to win the NFC East. Carson Wentz is a phenomenal quarterback when he stays healthy. I think not only do they have a great tight end, but they have probably the best backup tight end in the game. They went out and drafted a receiver. They've got arguably one of the best defensive lines in the game. They're a good team. It's just that aspect of Philadelphia always just finding some way to lose a game, or their quarterback gets hurt, or, man, a lot of different aspects that just gives me that about putting them higher. And, if Carson Wentz could stay healthy, good for him. He'll do that. If not, I'm telling you, Jalen Hurts is going to take over that team. So that's my number 10. We keep going through, or are you doing your 10?
If you want to go, we could do it that way. So at number 10, I have also the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, wow. Let's cut this out.
I know. It's scary. It's scary how much we agree. And then, so I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I agree with everything that you just said about them. And that's where his list starts off, where it already gets me going, because he doesn't even have the Eagles in his top 10. He does have in his top 10 that I do not have in my top 10. You know who his number 10 team is? the overrated ass Green Bay Packers. He's got the Green Bay Packers at number 10. I can't be too mad. They were 13-3 last year. They still do have Aaron Rodgers. They still have Devontae Adams. And everybody is high on them because they love to ride that jockstrap of Aaron Rodgers. So, apparently Matt Benz is no different, and he has the Green Bay Packers at number 10. Who do you have at number 9?
Yeah, I most certainly don't, because I don't even have them in the playoffs. I don't even have Aaron Rodgers in my top 10 quarterbacks. So screw you, Green Bay. We just lost our 1.5 Green Bay fans. It's some old lady and her dog that I was watching that she just hit the unsubscribe button. But number 9 is a team that I actually is so high on last year, and we've argued so much about the running back situation. And I think because they win their division, they got to be given some respect, but I still worry about them. I mean, they got a great core with the wide receiver group, great offensive line, which helps out this quarterback. But I think we're going to see teams that didn't get mixed up with the fact that Tannehill was going to be the quarterback of that team when they were playing for Mariota and trying to figure it out. Derrick Henry can't be brought down very well, but you know what? If you put the pressure right on him and he has to dump it off to Henry, you can set the defenses up better. They're still good, but I'm not going to put them up in the top 5. But the Tennessee Titans are on number 19. They deserve the respect. They didn't get to the AFC championship game on a fluke. This wasn't one of these hot teams during the year. They played solid football. Vrabel is a fantastic coach. He's obviously a defensive guy, but he's also a player's coach. They need that. As much as I rode Tannehill to fantasy football championships last year in multiple leagues, I really worry now that he's got that big contract and teams have gotten the offseason. Okay, take a breath. We know who Tannehill is. We've seen what he could do in Miami. This is not a different Tannehill. He's just got a better system around him. Let's find ways to get into his head. I think teams will. So I think they're going to have a couple more bumps in the road than they did with Tannehill last year.
Yeah, so at number 9, I don't have the Titans in mine at all either, and neither does Benz. At number 9, I actually have the Houston Texans. I think that they are going to be a team that surprises a lot of people. A lot of people are expecting them to fold just because they lose your boy over there, DeAndre Hopkins, and all that. But you know what? They still picked up Brandon Cooks. And they still have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. They are going to surprise a lot of people out there. They aren't going to fall as far as people think they're going to, even though they do have probably the worst head coach in the NFL. Right now, I have them as the number 9 team in my power rankings. At number 9 for Matthew Benz, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, God.
So he has the Dallas Cowboys at number 9. I don't see it. I didn't have Dallas even making the playoffs.
Best running back in the game, great wide receiver core, but don't get it. I don't get 1-13-3 season, and they're still one of the best. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it either. But he liked them, so he put them in there. At number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. Look, the Buffalo Bills are a team that is on the uprise. They're going to win the AFC East this year. They have a really good, solid, quarterback. They got a really, really, really good, solid defense. And not to mention that they went out and got Stephon Diggs to add to an already solid wide receiving core with a John Brown and all those guys over there. So I really think that they're going to turn some heads this year as well and keep improving as they already have. And so I have the Buffalo Bills at number 8. What say you?
Number 8, I've got a team that I think could be better, and they'll end the season ranked better, but they have to go through the bump first. And that's your Chicago Bears there, Mr. Cohen. I think the Bears are so much better of a team than anyone's given them credit. I have to sit here and be your friend and defend you and being agreeing with you, but the defense is friggin' fantastic. The reason people were so down on Mitch Trubisky is because the offensive line actually knew how to protect him. I mean, when he finally rushed, it's because he ran around 60 times, for a minute and a half because the team, the offensive line protected him. They've got weapons. I already said Allen Robinson, to me, is the number 2 wide receiver in the game. Like the numbers he did with a garbage situation with Mitch, but I predicted a kind of quick start against an easy schedule, then a drop, then Big Dick Nick comes in. So I'm going to put them at 8 because I think the team they end up being is better, but they have to go through the bump to start.
Yeah, I don't have the Bears in my top 10, but I'm happy that you do. The Bears I have them doing a lot better than a lot of teams do. I think that the 10 teams that I have in here are just better than them right now. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that you're right, and I hope that they are a top 10 team in the league. That would be outstanding, and I think that'd be even exceed my expectations. At number 8, and this is where I really started to have a problem with his list. He has the Seahawks way down at 8. And
toss this list out the damn window.
Especially with who he has ranked ahead of them, I should say. I don't see it. I don't get it. The Seahawks are probably, I mean, you have them as your 1 seed, I believe, correct? And I have them as my 2 seed.
Yep.
So I don't see them being 8th best team, but that's where he has them. At number 7, he has the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, ahead of Seattle. I know they get Big Ben back, and I know that Connor James looks like he looks like he just went out and just lifted weights all through.
My only issue is like it's like so big. Like remember like Cox that played for, was it New Orleans in the Patriots, and he had that big huge thing at the back. Like he looks like that just naturally. So my only worry.
Yeah.
But it's insane.
At 7, I agreed with him. I had the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7. I just didn't have the Seahawks behind them. So I didn't have a problem with the Steelers at 7 because I don't know that I don't know why you would have them ahead of the Seattle Seahawks. So that's the problem that I had with him. They, like I said, they get Big Ben back. They have James Conner back. So I do see them as a top 10 in the power rankings. I just don't see them ahead of the Seattle Seahawks. So who did you have at 7?
Well, on the Pittsburgh aspect, remember I have them finishing 11-5, getting the first wild card spot because I had Baltimore winning that division. Absolutely high on the team. I think they're going to be one of the best defenses in the game. I had between one of their players and Shaq down in Tampa Bay for Defensive Player of the Year. So I think if all my predictions are right, they're going to be fantastic in the top 10, but I actually put them at 11th just because of the fact that just why I couldn't put Big Ben in my quarterback list. He's out for a whole season. He looks good in practice videos and stuff like that, and he's still Big Ben. He's a great guy, but that's a full year injury. Let's see at the age of 35 how that works, because remember, they still have Mason Rudolph as their backup. If something happens to Ben, he was statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL last year. He deserved that helmet over the head. I'm just kidding. Calm down, OSU fans, pokes. I've got the Buffalo Bills.
Hey, listen, Jared Barrett. Hey, fuck you.
Fuck the Bears. Doesn't even have skin in his teeth. He's not even an NFC North fan in any way, shape, or form. That's Jared just doing his best. He's almost better than Josh Lebrecht than Josh Seavey at being able to cause some issues. I'm surprised we haven't seen Seavey in here, but I can't. I've got my 7 is Buffalo Bills. They're going to take the next step. They're going to win the AFC East. Josh Allen is going to be an even better quarterback. That defense, we both have said it, young and scary. We both had them going deep in the playoffs. It's still a younger team, So I still think they have a step or two before they can get into the elite, but they're that close. I'm telling you that the addition of Diggs, even with some of the issues, remember that whenever Diggs had issues, it kind of came up and then went back down, and there was obvious stress issues there. If the excitement that he's showing, partnering with Allen, stays true enough that they build a good relationship, we could be looking at a quarterback wide receiver duo that just dominates in the AFC for 4 or 5 years. And let's not forget that Brown showed himself to be no snub there. Singletary as a running back. They went and drafted, what was it, Zach Moss or something like that as a running back. They got good pieces. So, that's right. He is a Vikings fan. Okay. All right. I totally forgot that aspect. He's a big Sox fan, so I thought maybe he was a Pats fan, but I remember he's Vikings skull.
He's going to be happy with my number 6 then, because at number 6 I do have the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't even have the Bears on my list. I have the Minnesota Vikings at number 6. Look, a lot of people keep talking about this Dalvin Cook thing, and are they going to be able to sign him and this and that. Even without Dalvin Cook, these guys are the number 6 team in the league going into the season. Mattson is a beast, and he showed it last year when Cook went down that he can do the same thing that Dalvin Cook can. And people are sleeping on this guy. They're saying he's going to end up splitting time. He's going to end up splitting care. I don't think that that's true at all. I think that if Dalvin Cook does come back and does sign a contract, I think Dalvin Cook has to worry about splitting carries with Mattson, because Madison is a damn stud. And this team is good. I would have them higher if they had a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. I don't trust Cousins as much as I would like to for a team that I'm very high on, but I do. So I got them at 6. Who do you have at 6?
No, we're right in the same boat. Once again, another time where we agree on something. I've got the Minnesota Vikings at 6. I have them doing absolutely fantastic next year, 12-4, winning the NFC North. I like everything about it. The Dalvin Cook thing is enough to put just a slight question mark, even with your points made, because the difference is that, sure, we saw someone do close to what he did. But I would disagree with you. When we saw Dalvin Cook finally run healthy, he was a badass man-eater, man. He really was. He showed why that they decided that with the injury scare that they were going to take the chance. And when he got hurt his rookie season, I was like, this guy, he's going to not have a single clean year of running. And that's why I didn't even put him as high as I wanted. Still had him in my top 10, but I need to see it 2 years in a row. Hopefully we get to see it 2 years in a row. But with that said, I know they lost Diggs, who went to Buffalo, but they still got a great team. They really do. Questionable secondary. Their defensive back set up. I know some people think that they got rid of some issues with Rhodes and all stuff like that. But, I mean, you've got Joshua Seavey, for instance, on Sports Soup was like, hey, if your guy doesn't work out here from Texas, because I'm a Longhorns fan, he's talking about a guy who's an undrafted player. Right. Like they're trusting some really out of nowhere talent to try to back up. That's the only thing, is that we've seen it with Kirk Cousins. How many times has he got the ball down 38-35 and he actually played a stellar game? But that defense and the secondary is rough, and I just worry they're still going to have that, and that separates them from the top 5.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's my Aunt Felicia chiming in. How's it going, Aunt Felicia? Thanks for showing some love. Make sure if you look, Aunt Felicia, do everything you can. All my cousins, uncle, guys, get on the YouTube page and go ahead and click subscribe for us. Get some names out there, and let's get us to 100 subscriptions on YouTube. All right, so at number 6, Matt Benz had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not horribly upset by this. I know a lot of people think that Brady is not going to do as well as he has, and a lot of people think that he's on the decline and he's on his way out. I think just the opposite. So that's why I have them higher than 6. But I don't really necessarily have a problem with them at 6 until he gave me his number 5.
Oh, no.
And his number 5 made me kind of lose my shit a little bit.
Is it the Miami?
No. It's the Indianapolis Colts. He has the Indianapolis Colts at number 5, ahead of Tampa Bay, ahead of the Seahawks, ahead of the Steelers. The Colts aren't on my list. I couldn't put the Colts on my list at all. He has them at number 5, ahead of a team that is probably the front runner in the NFC and the Seattle Seahawks. I don't understand the love for the Colts, and I don't get why team like Sully is another one. Sully from Infinity Sports. He has the Colts going to the Super Bowl.
There's people on Sports Soup that's saying that they think that the Colts this year could be the number 2 team in the AFC. What is wrong with everyone?
Look,
it's Phillip Rivers.
Rivers had how many great teams that he played? He had LaDainian Tomlinson.
It's not like he played with garbage players.
No. And he always had top line wide receivers.
Antonio Gates, Keenan Allen, Tomlinson.
And he's never won with them. He's just not that quarterback. He's not that quarterback, and he's extremely inconsistent. I watched him last year with the Chargers, and I thought, I would have taken anybody over him. I was happy as a Bears fan that we didn't have Phillip Rivers as our quarterback.
I was more confident in Stidham coming in and doing better for them than Phillip Rivers. Listen, folks, there's a love. This is. Oh, God, I get so frustrated at age here. Fantasy stats don't create reality.
Yep.
Fantasy stats don't create reality. The reason Phillip Rivers had good stats is because he played with Hall of Fame players, but because they were constantly behind and he had to throw. The reason LaDainian Tomlinson was kicking ass, catching balls out of the backfield before most running backs were doing it is because they had no choice. They were constantly behind because he had the fastest 3-and-outs I've ever seen. When I watched games with Phillip Rivers and it was like this other team scored and they took the lead and here's the time, Phillip, you've got to do something. He would go straight 3 plays, throw garbage throws and just kind of throw his helmet up top and be like, I don't understand. Yeah. He played with Hall of Fame, not just offensive stars. He had Hall of Fame defensive players. He had Hall of Fame offensive linemen, and he never did anything.
He went to one Super Bowl. He's always been in the playoffs. He's just, I don't know. I am not high on Phillip Rivers at all. I don't think that he makes that team that good. They're not a World Series team. A Super Bowl team. I'm watching baseball in the background, so I said World Series. But they're just not a Super Bowl team, and to have them 5th over the Seahawks, that's where I started laughing, and I was like, look, I need to have you on the show so we can pick this apart a little bit.
That's why he didn't come on. He probably watched one of the recordings and realized that I would lose my friggin' mind. The Colts are not the number 2. I don't give 2 shits if you think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Hall of Fame players that play with other Hall of Fame players that play with even more Hall of Fame players should do more. He didn't succeed in any way. You think at his age, where he's making 600 kids, getting on this Colts team right now, you're telling me that Mac, and I like T.Y. Hilton, and all these other, you don't think that's better than Keenan Allen, Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, and these guys? Get the hell out of here. Yep. I will sit here and wear a Colts Phillip Rivers. I'm not buying a jersey, F that, with his name. I'll buy a T-shirt, and I will wear it for a week straight or a month if he wins the friggin' Super Bowl. It is the people thinking that they're going to the Super Bowl or AFC Championship game is such hot garbage. Yeah. It's hot garbage.
So
I would put the Red Sox in the World Series this year before I do that with the Colts.
Who'd you have at number 5?
I don't even know where my list is anymore.
All right. Well, at number 5, I have the New Orleans Saints. Look, the New Orleans Saints are a great team. They are a high-powered offense. They are probably, a top 3 team in the East, in the NFC, and they're just really, really good. So that's why I had them at number 5 and not the Indianapolis Colts. So did you find your list yet?
Yeah, I'm trying to find every way to just get on the Colts Twitter page and just start. I might as well just make myself enemy number 1 of the Indianapolis Colts. They ruined the career of one of the best quarterbacks that could have been a Hall of Famer in Andrew Luck, for crying out loud.
Jared, I agree. So they play the Vikes in the playoffs. I have the Vikes upsetting them in the playoffs. So, yeah. There you go.
I also have the Saints at number 5. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Cook. They're just ridiculous. And the fact that team is number 5 just shows how powerful of teams that we've got going in. You know what's crazy though? There's a team, like I just said, like a wide receiver and a running back and a tight end and a quarterback. They're all Hall of Famers. They actually succeed and go somewhere. They actually won a Super Bowl. I like Phillip Rivers.
All right, at number 4, moving on, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Look, the Seattle Seahawks are the cream of the crop of the NFC. They are a 1A to me with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Seattle Seahawks are really good. They're going to have a great season behind Russell Wilson and all the weapons that they have out there. The defense is outstanding. And so I have them at number 4. And at number 4, Matt Benz had the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't really argue if you have them at number 4. But again, we'll get to it here in a minute. I'm going to argue with it because of who he has at number 3. So who's your number 4?
I don't even know. I don't even know if I can even. I just want to stall so we hit. I don't have to listen to this horse shit anymore. What the hell? I'm gonna blow a freaking casket here with RTF. We got some fighting to do here. We're gonna have battle royale. I've got the Ravens at number 4. Listen, Lamar Jackson is just such a dynamic player that I put him on top 10 for 2 positions, for crying out loud, which people think is ridiculous. And I think it's the biggest compliment you could ever pay a player of that dynamic. My only fear continues to be with him is that he still doesn't make very accurate throws once he starts running. And we saw it in the game with Tennessee. They were a team. And remember, that game, a lot of teams are going to use that game as a platform for what Vrabel was able to coach that team to be able to do, because they weren't in that game at any point. And I know people are like, oh, look at Lamar's stat. It was garbage time. They were trying to catch up. Yeah, he had some great stats at the end. Halfway through that game, they were garbage. Okay, so they're an amazing team. Great defense. Top 5 in the NFL by and large. But I still got them winning the AFC North. I've got them, I think, number 2 behind the Chiefs. I will put more trust.
Stevens chiming in says it's 3-2 Lightning. Lincoln Stevens, for those of you that are watching this and don't know who Lincoln Stevens is, he is just the legend. He will always be the legend. He is the legend, Lincoln Stevens. But he lets you know that it's 3-2 Lightning.
Yeah,
as if this segment couldn't get you any more heated. Now the Bruins are losing. And now we're about to get to number 3 of who Matt Benz has ahead of the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm muted my mic right now.
So at number 3, Matt Benz has the San Francisco 49ers. And for those of you listening to us on Wednesday on your ride home, Soup Boss just threw down his headset and walked off the set. He has the San Francisco 49ers at number 3. I don't have them even on my top 10. I think last year was an aberration. I don't think they're as good as they are last year. They're definitely not going back to the Super Bowl, so they don't even make my top 10. At number 3, I actually have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are my Super Bowl winner. I think Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time coming to play with a really good offensive line, with the best wide receiving core that he's ever played with a really good defense, is just a recipe for success. And I don't understand all of the naysayers who are out there saying that they're not going to be as good and that they're overrated. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have at number 3. Suplas, who do you have at number 3?
Yeah, I still don't understand that aspect. And at number 3, I also have the Buccaneers. I don't have them as my team going to the Super Bowl or my number 1 seed in the NFC. But as everyone knows, and got my Pats jersey on, there he is right there. Like, Tom Brady and Gronk obviously are going to be, and I was super pumped to get Gronk in our draft today. But he had no one. His heart wasn't in the season last year. And Julian Edelman was his 110-yard catch wide receiver. There was no, guys, I watch inside and outside every single Patriots game, not just because of the homer aspect or anything like that, but I've been passionately driven since I could walk about the New England Patriots. I went through analyzing seasons where they were 1-15, going through 4 starting quarterbacks. I love this team so much. There was nothing. That defense carried them. That's why that defense got so tired by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And he was still out there without his heart fully in it and was still finding ways to win games. He was angry. He was frustrated. You can tell he didn't want to be there, but he still did it. And I know they got bounced in the playoffs, but they were still, 11-5, something like that.
Yep.
You now put those weapons around him. You gave him back Gronk. If Gronk was on the Patriots last year, at least I think he would have had a lot more fun. And you probably would have seen them beat a team like Miami in Week 17 and held on to that 2 seed or something like that. And you gave him his favorite target. Plus, imagine the New England Patriots, they put Godwin and Evans on that team last year.
Yeah.
And brought back Gronk.
Oh, man.
People would have said that they had a chance to take the Chiefs out for the 1 seed, and we wouldn't even see the Ravens were going to be that explosive. I think they would have been. Now, all of a sudden, because he's a year older, that makes some difference. I give you crap about Jameis Winston all the time, but even with the fact that people agree with me that he's not a top 10 quarterback yet, he could be, but he was pretty much a garbage quarterback half the time. That team was still, 8-8 last year?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me Tom Brady, adding Gronk, added in Shady McCoy, who's very, very smart, is not – get out of here. They're gonna be fantastic.
And I don't understand how you don't think that doesn't add 4 to 5 wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Adding Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's not going to make the same mistakes that Jameis Winston made.
Yep.
So I don't understand people's thought process in that. I think it's the Bears thing all over again. People forget that they were the record that they have, and all of a sudden they have them being worse than what they were, even though they got better.
Yep.
In the offseason. So I don't get it. I don't get having the Niners on there. I certainly don't get having the Colts on there.
Listen, the Niners were the Super Bowl team. You and I had them losing in the double tiebreaker to get in. I still had them at 10-6. I get why I could be wrong in that aspect, but I'm with you in the fact that I don't think they're going to be as good.
Yeah.
But anyone that sees that team and then sees what is in the NFC and thinks that 49ers team is somehow better than so many other NFC teams, if you're going to put them in the top 10, they got to be near the bottom of that list. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
It's not the Colts, though, at least.
His top 2, though, I don't really have a problem with. I can understand, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. At number 2, he has the New Orleans Saints. Would not surprise me if they do make a run, if they do end up in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't surprise me if they go out and they win the South and they beat Tampa Bay out by being 14-2 or 13-3. It wouldn't surprise me. They are a very good team, high-powered offense. I had them at 5. At number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. To me, the number 2 and number 1 team are both from the same conference, and the Baltimore Ravens are just so damn good, and they're so damn good at home. And they look, and their schedule just suggests that they are going to be one of them, 2 or 3 losses, and one of those losses is going to have to be a blinded loss that you never saw coming. So I have the Baltimore Ravens at number 2. Who you got at 2, Soup?
I just think with Pittsburgh coming back, man, it's a lot different. People forgot just how terrible Pittsburgh really was, even with them having a better defense.
I'll lose 1 to Pittsburgh for sure.
I got the Seahawks at number 2. if you've been watching us, you see my love for him. Russell Wilson gets no credit. He puts up MVP numbers that if he was in any other higher profile city that's on the east of the Mississippi, he'd be an MVP candidate. He still gets votes for sure. But they 2 years ago had the worst offensive line statistically. The guy was running for his life and he still did amazing things. They got a little bit better last year. They got better this year. Smart draft. I think I made this point over and over, but there's this thought process. You have to replace beast mode. I don't think you have to. I think they're smart. They realize Penny and Carson are not going to replace him individually. Yeah. But man, that's a two-headed monster that you can do that. And they both are really good at sealing the edges to be able to ensure that you get good slant routes. We've already talked about the wide receiver that he trusts there. So to me, MVP quarterback, fantastic. Getting Adams, I probably would have put them at 3 or 4. I truly believe Adams that they got from the Jets really just solidifies that defense and makes where you come. Good.
All right. So yeah, no, I don't disagree with the Seahawks are a great team, solid team, and then we all agree consensus number one across the board. I'm assuming your number one is the Chiefs, because if not, then I'm turning off my mic and I'm going home.
It's New England Patriots, baby.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, we all have the Chiefs at number one. Yep. The Chiefs are just, look, they're the Chiefs. They're the Super Bowl champions. They are the cream of the crop in the AFC. They are the team to beat, and I do have Baltimore beating them in the AFC title game this year and going to the Super Bowl.
No, I don't think you had the Chiefs going out of second round, buddy. You had the Bills upsetting them in Kansas City.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you most certainly did, because then I asked you how come the Bills couldn't upset the Ravens.
I have Baltimore beating Buffalo in the AFC title game. You're right. So but look, the Kansas City Chiefs they're that team. They're that damn good. If they go back out and they repeat as Super Bowl champions, it wouldn't surprise me. And we all love to point out how they're, a bad freaking,
D Ford offsides away from back-to-back Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
it's the truth.
It wouldn't surprise me if they go out and they do it, but they are. They're the champions. You have to give them their just dues. They didn't get any worse. They still have Patty Mahomes. So
they got better. They got better. That first round pick, that kid, the running back, with the hyphenated name, all that.
Everybody loves him, man. He got.
That's like taking real gold and melting it and then pouring it on top of a gold bar. Are you serious? Right. And they didn't lose. Like you said, they haven't lost people. Again, 2-3 years, you're going to see that change. You're going to have to make some big decisions. But, they're just the cream of the crop. They're D Ford offsides away from back-to-back Super Bowls. They were the number 2 seed last year, even while losing Patrick Mahomes to the crazy ankle injury. As long as they're not doing quarterback sneaks when he feels like it's hurting him, they'll be fine. And this is the team to beat. Until someone knocks them off the mountain, they're the number one team in football. Period. So Russell Wilson, you gotta go do it, buddy.
Yeah.
Or Tom Brady, because your pick. I like that one. Go do it. Go get number 7.
All right. So let's get into a way or no way here. One of our segments that we love to run. We love the interaction with you guys. Some of you guys have taken on to it a little bit. I see some of the comments sometimes coming through, and you guys are always like, no way, or throwing one in there kind of way, or whatever it is. So you guys like the segment, so let's go with it here a little bit.
Let's do it.
So for those of you who haven't joined us here in the past, I don't know what you've been waiting for, but the way we play this segment is I throw out a quick statement, and then Supas and I come back with way or no way. Typically it's about 4 or 5, but today our segment's kind of long, and I do want to get to some shop talk with you guys who are commenting. So we are going to go with a way or no way once I read the statement.
No way. Yes way.
Hey, comes out this Friday, Bill and Ted's, baby.
Yeah, I know. I saw the preview the other day. So, all right. So let's get to this one, because I know Jared's still out there listening. I know some of you guys out there listening are big Red Sox fans. So let's get to this one. And this is the one I threw out here because I was thinking of the trade deadline. And I have, by the end of the trade deadline, the Red Sox will begin their rebuild, and they will rebuild around Alex Verdugo and Xander Bogaerts. Way or no way?
That's a way. You got to add one more name though in there. Devers. Devers is one they're keeping as well. So those three, Verdugo, they're high on him. That's their chip of being able to say, yeah, Mookie is blowing the world up, but we got something for it. Xander is going to be their guy. They signed him. Devers is a guy that they want to be able to tote as the one that they brought up, and they hope to keep him around in that aspect. You get Erod and Chris Sale back next year. But they're out of it. I mean, they're the first team to 20 losses. They're just not good. It's just not a good team. And even with Chris Sale and Erod coming back, Eovaldi's still your third pitcher. I like him, but he's not a third pitcher. He shouldn't be he should be a fourth, maybe fifth. So they're going to trade. They're going to try to look for some young pitching talent, I think. They've got some positional players in their farm system that I think will be fine. Give them a little bit more time to groom. But, yeah, they're going to completely bust it up and rebuild around those three guys.
So I am going to say way, and I am going to combat your Devers thing with something that I think is going to happen this year. And, well, if not this year, then next year by the trade deadline. I think that they trade Devers. I think they trade Devers, and I think in the offseason at the end of next year, I think they're a big player for Chris Bryant. I think Chris Bryant in that Boston Red Sox lineup makes a lot of sense. I think that he would tear that monster apart. Look, Chris Bryant is a stud. The guy can flat out hit when he's healthy. The problem with Bryant has been his health. But Devers has had health problems too. So if you can get a Chris Bryant, especially in the American League, and you can play him in left field as opposed to third base where the Cubs, have him a lot of the times, or if you can DH him, Chris Bryant's a totally different player, and that's where I think that the Boston Red Sox are headed. I think that
he's looking for that last big contract, though. You've said it. I don't think they're going to pass on giving it to a guy like Mookie Betts, but then go give it to a guy like Chris Bryant. I don't see it.
I think that I don't know. Yeah, but I think that that's the route that they're going to go. I do think that they're going to trade Devers, and I think when they do trade Devers, they're going to go after some really solid starting pitching, and you can get that for a guy like Devers. So
if you look at Boston beat reporting and all the local broadcasts, there's no name that gets talked about more when Chris Sale is out like he is right now than Devers. He is loved by that organization. I think you'd have to pay gold to get them, which anyone's available. You pay the right price. So it just depends.
Yeah. I mean, I just see that. I really do. I've said this for a couple of years now that I thought it would have been a excellent trade for both teams a year back if they would have traded straight up Mookie for KB. I thought that would have been a great trade for both sides. The Cubs need an outfielder, and Chris Bryant fits that lineup perfectly. I think that he would have done them a lot of good the year after the World Series, leadership-wise. But, they never pulled the trigger. But I think that he makes a lot of sense in Boston. Does he want to play in Boston? I don't know. A lot of things point to him going back and playing out west. I know that a lot of the other signs too point to Chris Bryant also going back to the East Coast too and playing with his buddy Bryce Harper in Philadelphia.
The Phillies too. I actually think the Phillies. If I was to pick a spot right now, I would probably put my money on the Phillies. I do. I think that's where he'd want to go, and I think Harper's got the pull. I mean, Philly said we'll do anything for you. Right. I think he'll say, "Go get my boy." Chris.
If he goes back out west, man, and if the NL does keep the DH, could you imagine him in the Padres lineup?
It'd be insane. Could you imagine him playing for the Giants?
Dude, can you imagine the 3, 4, 5 of the Padres being Machado, Tatis, Bryant?
Yeah, that'd be explosive.
Get out of here. That would be insane. All right, so another way or no way that we'll get to real quick, and then we'll get to some shot talk with you guys, is I want to get to this because I saw the other day that a baseball card, which was a Mike Trout autographed rookie card, sold for $3.5 million.
You heard that right. $3.5 million.
$3.5 million for a baseball card that all you can do is look at. And I'm a sports collector. I collect autographed memorabilia. I don't pay, boatloads and boatloads of money for this autographed sports memorabilia. I prefer to win mine on Three Guys Sports Breaks. There's a little
been the bridesmaid 3 straight in a row on that thing.
But yeah, I just think that no baseball card should ever sell for more than $5. Is that a way or no way for you, boss?
No way, because I mean $5 is a really low rate, man. I could see you saying, "Is it ridiculous that card sold for that much money?" It's a card. It's a card. All you do is look at the Declaration of Independence. The original, you saying that the original parchment of paper of the Declaration of Independence, signed by our founding fathers, should be not sold for anything more than $5. I mean, do I think that the price for the Trout is kind of ridiculous? Yeah, I mean, you look at McFarland, the guy who drew Spawn, what he paid for, what was it, Mark McGwire's baseball? It wasn't even signed. That broke the home run record. It's like $3 million. To him, it may be something that was valuable, but we look back at it and go, oh, it's kind of a ridiculous price. So some of these outlandish, ridiculous ones, costs are ridiculous. But seeing your question is, should any sell for more than $5? I'm going to say no way, and I'm going to go right back at you when you're talking about how you try to win them. I know you pay more than $5 just for a spot for a chance to win some of the signed memorabilia. So,
yeah. I don't know what happened, but we made my son mad. He gave us an angry face on Facebook. I don't know what we did or what we said, but
maybe he's a big Phillip Rivers fan.
I think maybe it might have been the Chris Bryant to the Red Sox or something. But hey, buddy, let me know what we did to make you mad. He did say the Bruins are going into overtime, but it is time for some shop talk. So let's get to it here. Let's go through some comments. We have, let's see here. Jared Parrott chimes in. Xander has a no-trade clause starting September 6th and an opt-out 2022. I hope they don't trade him, but Xander could be the one that they trade. Look, I think Xander's going to be the one that they give the Mookie contract to.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Xander's the guy that they build around. Xander's the guy that they give that big, 9-10-year extension, 11, 12-year extension to. And I think that they pay Xander because I don't think he's going to get the money that Mookie got. I don't think he's going to get the money that a lot of these bigger guys are getting. And I think he's going to be a lot more affordable, but he's going to get the years for sure.
They want him to be the stable leader. And I said it to you at the beginning of the season. He said all the right things, and he's performing decently. But he's not performing like Mookie Betts level. That's why, like you said, he won't get the money, but he'll get the years. And I think he likes this role. I think he's liking the role being the leader in the dugout and in the clubhouse. And I think they like him being that guy. They've seen him grow into that role. They think that it's valuable. And right now, when you've got a team that needs someone that isn't an ancient guy telling all these young kids what to do, but as a guy that's just a little bit older than them, and they're going to rebuild around, and he's grown a voice, that's huge. He himself is just going to grow into a more valuable asset. So I think I agree with you 100%. They're going to give him the years, and it's going to be based on the value of who he is as a full character, not just stats.
Did you guys hear about Chara breaking his jaw and asking to start the game? Look, that doesn't surprise me.
That would be the first time with him.
Zdeno Chara is an animal. The guy is probably one of the strongest guys in the NHL. And he's just, look, we've talked about this before. NHL players are just nuts. Look, these guys play through everything. They would be just like that pitcher we talked about to start the show. Yep. If they got struck by lightning, they'd get revived and they'd go out and play.
We've seen it. We've seen two players in the last 2 years die on their benches, get revived. One of them getting pissed because they canceled the game, and the other one getting pissed because he has to go back in the game, and they wouldn't let him do it.
Right.
And again, I rag on people in sports hoop all the time because people bitch all the time. I wish football was the way it used to be. You used to be able to hit guys. I hate basketball because all they do is complain, all this different stuff. Baseball is too slow. All of those complaints about the other three sports. It doesn't happen in hockey. I get you didn't grow up with a skate rink. You didn't ice skate. Watch some YouTube videos. It's 2020. Learn the rules of the game and then enjoy. They go at each other. And then you know what's crazy? They destroy each other and then they shake each other's hands at the end of the game like, hey, good job.
Even if you don't know the rules, look, hockey is just a fast-paced game, and the playoffs are just so intense that it's just end-to-end the entire time. These guys are hitting each other. These guys are trying to score. They're doing everything that they can, and it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it just doesn't stop. There's so many minimal stoppages that the game just goes by. An average NHL playoff game is about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the Harvard study said when they were trying to figure out who plays more, like active movement, and the challenge was between football and basketball. And these Harvard students, it was like 10 years ago, came back and were like, neither. It's by and far hockey. These guys don't stop moving. And I hear all the time in Sports Soup, a lot of you guys say, I have problems watching the puck. I get that. But don't start the game by just trying to figure out where the puck goes. Watch where the players go. Trust me, the players are going towards the puck. A lot of times they're scrumming together. Yeah, they're players. They're getting set in for plays and hoping to get set up. But just go where the main guys are skating towards, where they group together. You'll start to see the puck as you watch it more.
Well, Jared says he also took a hometown discount while Cora was here, and a year after the World Series, can't rebuild around a guy with an opt-out.
Unless he doesn't opt out, unless he decides, unless he verbally states, I want to stay. I'd rather not opt out.
Yeah, and he's not. He's gonna. In order to build around him, they're gonna sign an extension. Like, he's gonna get extended. He's gonna be the guy that they sign. I'm telling you right now. He's gonna be that guy.
You want to know my prediction for next year, by the way?
Yeah.
Cora is coming back as your coach for the Boston Red Sox next year.
I don't know about that, buddy.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't. And I don't even know if I would like that, to be honest. Like, and I'm not a Red Sox fan. The stuff surrounding him and the Astros and the cheating thing. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd like that for my organization. But Brandon Jr. says for the finals, I'd like to see Dallas versus Boston or Vegas versus Boston.
I would like to see Dallas versus Boston just because I'm near Dallas, and there's nothing I enjoy more than going down to the Hooters right next to that arena that they play at and drinking a ton of Sam Adams beer and then walking out after they lose games like they did against the St. Louis Blues in Game 7 2-3 years ago and just telling them they all suck. They all suck.
Oh, man. All right, boss, why don't you tell these guys where they can find us, where they need to find us, and where they need to subscribe.
Yeah, you guys need to we enjoy the support. We enjoy seeing the same people on here commenting. We got to get this going. We got to get more people involved. Let's build this. So, of course, on our RTF Sports page and Triple Shot Sports page on Facebook, we've got those videos going. But get us on social media. We've got Twitter and we've got Instagram at 3 Shot Sports. Again, the number 3 Shot Sports. Which, by the way, real quick on the Twitter, I knew hockey, so I was better than you in that one last year. And I thought I put up 3, but I'm only showing 2. You and I both having Dodgers as the number 1 team. Are we accurate? 100% people say we're accurate for a number 1. So we got some smart fans at least there with that aspect. But 3 Shot Sports on Twitter. We do the polls. On Instagram, interact. But our big one right now is on YouTube. Triple Shot Sports Podcast. I wish we could make it TSS, Mr. Combs, but someone else has it, and they haven't done anything in 2 years, but I can't have it. But Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Go on there, subscribe, share, like the videos for us, get that momentum going, get to 100 subscriptions, get yourself some free memorabilia, get yourself a Tatis Jr. jersey, which you could sell for $2.5 million. And in 20 years, we'll be old guys sitting here asking if we should ever sell signed memorabilia for more than $5. But get on there. And also, I keep still having people ask me, well, I'd go on YouTube, but if I comment, you won't see it. There's a thought process on YouTube. When you comment, it only gets seen by the people after. We see it live. If you watch it on YouTube live, we will see it. And Mr. Combs can put your comments up there. You're a part of it just the same.
You just made me rethink our major prize when you said the Tatis jersey for $3 million. I started thinking, I was like, huh. Well, all right. So we're going to go ahead and scrap this episode, pretend like it never happened.
Just go find a Tatis Senior and just pretend the Junior was never a part of it. So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so definitely, guys, subscribe. We've got the giveaway I'll announce the other, prizes as we go. There'll definitely be, if you don't want any of the sports memorabilia, if you'd rather have a gift card for whatever reason, I will definitely more than happily, if the winner does not want the Tatis jersey, if he wants the $50 gift card, I will more than happily go ahead and do that instead. But we got some other, pieces of memorabilia. I'm going to throw a Joe Mauer All-Star autograph jersey in there, and also a Joe Mauer autograph ball.
Joshua Seavey.
So, yeah, I mean, for you guys there that are fans of Minnesota, Jared Parrott, I know you're a Red Sox fan, but you're also a Vikings fan. So, there's just some cool prizes. So we got the Tatis jersey we've announced. We got the Vic jersey we've announced. I've got the Joe Mauer jersey I've announced and the Joe Mauer ball. So we got one more in there. And that last prize is going to be a Juan Soto autographed bat.
That's who I was talking about that had the corona test that came back positive. He was up Soto on the Nationals.
Yeah. So I have a Juan Soto autographed baseball bat that I would also be willing to part with. So those are the things that you guys can win. Let's get to 100 on YouTube. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. I got your mute, Mike. Ha ha.